two manufacturers in the same industry using the same amount of gas with the same supplier renewed their contracts at different times. One renewed in July, the other in October. Over a 2-year contract, that timing difference was potentially worth £65,000. Not because of a better deal or a stronger negotiation, but because one went to market earlier in the year, when the prices were lower, and the other waited until autumn, when the winter risk had already been priced in. This is why procurement timing matters more than most manufacturers realise, and why the current window is particularly important for businesses with contracts renewing in the next 12 months. To understand this, you need to understand what drives the price. Business gas in the UK is priced against the National Balancing Point, or NBP. It is the benchmark for wholesale gas, and every commercial contract is built on it in some form. Right now, prices are typically higher than they were this time last year, but the forward market is signalling some easing later in 2026 as additional global supply comes online. The challenge is that there is still risk in the system, and that risk is what shapes pricing decisions. Europe is entering the summer refill period with storage levels well below the seasonal average. That means the market has to factor in the possibility that refilling storage could be more difficult than expected. If supply tightens or demand increases earlier than forecasted, prices will move up quickly. For manufacturers with upcoming renewals, this creates a clear risk. Securing a contract before that pressure builds protects against it. Waiting until later in the year means buying into that risk once it has already been priced. There are 3 main ways to structure a gas contract. A fixed contract locks in your unit rate for the full term, giving certainty over what you will be paying but removing any benefit if the market falls. A flexible contract allows energy to be purchased in stages, linked to the wholesale market so pricing can be secured when conditions are favourable. This can deliver better outcomes, but it requires active management and a clear view of risk. A hybrid approach combines both, fixing a core element of the contract while leaving the rest to be bought at a more favourable time. Most manufacturers are only offered fixed contracts, not because alternatives are unavailable, but because fixed structures place less risk on the supplier. Understanding that other options exist is the starting point for a more informed procurement decision. If your gas contract expires and is not renewed, your supply moves on to a deemed rate. These are out-of-contract prices set by the supplier and are significantly higher than the market rates. For a typical manufacturing site, that could mean paying 20 to 70% more than necessary, adding tens of thousands of pounds in avoidable costs over a year. This usually happens because gas contracts are not tracked as closely as electricity. In many businesses, the renewal date is not picked up on until a higher invoice highlights the issue. If you are unsure when your contract ends, that's the first thing to check. These are the same checks we can run for you when reviewing your gas contract. The 5 questions worth asking this week are: when does your contract end and what notice is required? What type of contract are you on? Fixed, flexible, or hybrid? When did you last compare the market across multiple suppliers? Is your renewal aligned to market conditions or just a calendar date? And does your current approach reflect how much price risk your business is comfortable taking? If you want clear answers to all of those, request a free Tritility gas invoice audit using the link in the description. We'll review your contract, compare your pricing against the current market, and show you where risk sits and what your options are ahead of renewal.